Well, hi, this is Pastor Cody. Just wanted to give you this update, this series of updates from our latest leadership team meeting, which is called Session, and those who are on session are called elders. Just a reminder of that Presbyterian terminology, and a lot to cover here, so I'll go as quickly as I can. First off, a celebration that we have hired our next children's director. That will be Melissa Moore-Winslow. She has been on session this year. She will obviously be stepping down from that so that she could become an employee. And this was a discussion we had in session. So she'll be stepping down as an elder and becoming the next children's director. We are excited for her heart and passion for children and how she's already bought in with the church's vision and has some incredible ideas about how to take the amazing progress that Kate Ballard created over the last 3 years as our children's director and continue building on that. So we're very excited to have Melissa starting in mid-June. She'll overlap with Kate for a couple of weeks and be able to see Vacation Bible School. And we really have the opportunity to have a really fabulous transition in the children's ministries. We're very excited about that. The next update, just a reminder, is May 30th. We begin our phase 2 in-person worship, and just the key points there, masks still expected. Every pew will now be open, so the ropes are gone. We're still going to put little signs just saying, sit on that side of the pew. So we'll alternate sides of, so on the first row you can sit on the left, on the second row you can sit on the right, something like that, just to give people the opportunity to still be spaced out. And we'll still be opening the windows as weather permits to help change out the air. So we have much higher capacity while still allowing some distance. But the other big thing is that congregational singing will now be allowed with masks still on. So this will be our next phase, beginning on May 30th. Session met this past Sunday, and we modified the timing for phase 3 in-person worship. Instead of waiting 4 weeks, we're just going to wait 3 weeks. So we moved that up 1 week. And the big thing with phase 3 in-person worship is that masks become optional. Make the masking choice that makes you feel most comfortable or safest. We won't be asking worshipers if they're vaccinated. So it is fine if you don't want to wear a mask. It is fine if you do want to wear a mask. We want everyone to feel comfortable in either direction. Whatever makes you feel most comfortable or safest, you decide on masks. And the logic behind that is that gives everyone a chance who wants to get a vaccine. You've got a chance to do that. And time for that to become effective. So then it's easier to say, people can make their own choices at that point. Also, the COVID numbers in our state and our county have gone down significantly since I sent out the last update. So we're feeling more confident about that. The choir will be able to sing in worship. And I think they're planning to start the first Sunday of July. And just kind of have a first Sundays for a little while until the fall, but that'll be fantastic. The congregation can sing without masks if they want to, or with masks. Again, you make that choice, but congregational singing will still continue there. We'll still open the windows again to try for ventilation. We'll keep the seating, alternating sides so people can be spaced out. And with both of these, you can mingle after worship instead of having to go directly out. We're not going to do snacks or hospitality yet, but June 20th, phase 3 in-person worship, masks optional, choir can sing, congregation can sing with or without masks. So that'll be a big one, June 20th, and that got moved up 1 week. Fall worship. So this has been a pretty extensive conversation we've had for quite a long time, and I've talked to quite a few people in the congregation. And, we're trying to make this kind of what are the decisions that work best for the most people, obviously, and feed into the goals and the visions that we have for the church. So we had 5 major factors as we considered the fall in-person worship, which will begin September 12th. We have people who prefer late worship. It's a pretty large group. We have people for whom adult Sunday school is their primary discipleship approach. That's kind of a medium-sized group. We have people who prefer early worship. It's a smaller group, but a definite group. And we have children and families, also a smaller group. But children and families is an area of focus for growth for the church. And we really want the next generation to feel at home in worship. So we are considering the impact on children and families. And also one of the big ones is one of our major church goals coming out of COVID. This was already a goal, but this really becomes even more important moving forward, is to invest in and restore relationships which have been strained over the last 14, 15 months. So those are the 5 major factors. And as we look through these lenses, we considered multiple options. We explored, just kind of going back to our pre-COVID days, 8:30 and 10:30, and that has ups and downs. One of the biggest downsides there was that you didn't get to see people. There are early worshipers and late worshipers, and never the twain shall meet. So one of the advantages of having a single worship service is that everyone gets to see each other, and those relationships are put front and center. We explored keeping the 9:30 service, which we've been doing during COVID, and we've done in summers past. That makes adult Sunday school really, really difficult. It's either way too early or way too late. So that one's pretty difficult. We explored having adult Sunday school 9 to 10 and a single worship service at 10:30. Heard from a number of our early worshipers that a 10:30 worship service is getting probably too late for them to consider. And we explored adult Sunday school 9 to 9:45 with a single worship service at 10. And I have had conversations across the congregation, and as I've talked through these major factors, 10 a.m. worship seems to be the intersection of what I would call acceptable to most of the early and late worshiping groups with whom I've spoken. Most of the early worshipers I've spoken with have said 10 would be like the latest that they could endorse, and only because it has these advantages of letting everyone be together, and then we can invest in relationships. Without those pluses, they wouldn't even want to go as late as 10, but they can make it work because of the advantages of bringing everyone together. Kind of the same thing when I talk to late worshipers, that 10 would be like the earliest that they could endorse for those same reasons, only because it allows everyone to be together and investing in relationships. And so as a result of kind of that intersection of the acceptable in terms of timing and the value that it gives to adult Sunday school, Session believes that 9 to 9:45 Sunday school, 10 a.m. worship service gives us the best opportunity to invest in all 5 of the major factors that we are considering. It requires pretty much everyone to give a little bit more on the timing than they would prefer, but it allows us to invest in relationships by everyone being together every week. Also, when Pastor Carol and I were trying to squeeze in an adult Sunday school class in between 8:30 and 10:30, that was really, really difficult to do with the timing. So having a dedicated Sunday school time, 9 to 9:45, allows us, makes it a lot easier for pastors to teach Sunday school classes. Within this plan, I'll note, we haven't figured out what we will do with children's Sunday school. We've got several options on the table. So we're going to keep working on that, and we'll let you know more as we work on that. Again, we got several things that are possible, so we haven't settled on what children's Sunday school will look like within that. But again, fall worship, September 12th, 9 to 9:45 adult Sunday school will be an option, 10 o'clock worship service. That gives us the best opportunity across those 5 major factors. The other thing is an update to the sanctuary, which we will see in the next few weeks. It's not a big change, but wanted to keep you updated. If you look closely, most people actually don't notice it, but if you look closely, the pews in the choir loft actually do not match the rest of the sanctuary. They're a totally different style. The tops are flat, and then in the choir loft, and if you look at the tops in the sanctuary, they have this kind of arch part to it. So they don't match at all. They're also too long to have an aisle on both sides, so they're offset. They're not symmetrical. So we have approved a plan to take pews from the front row of the sanctuary and move those up to the choir loft. So basically, we'll take pews from the current sanctuary style and put them up in the choir loft. They're 2 feet shorter, so it actually allows them to be centered and have an aisle on each side, which helps the choir those who have mobility issues getting in and out is difficult. And so this makes it quite a bit easier for them. It matches visually and allows us to have a symmetrical layout. Also, that why we chose the front row as to get 2 of the pews is we often have spacing issues in the front of the church. The most obvious is in Christmas. We already take those 2 front pews out during Christmas and Advent because the trees make it too tight to fit through. Also, when the bell choir is set up and we have communion by intinction, we've had difficulties getting everyone through. That's been an ongoing spacing problem for quite some time. And then whenever we have weddings, we often have difficulty getting the wedding parties all fitting up there. So the spacing of that front row has been an issue for quite some time. So this gives a little more space up there so that we're not worried about that. It doesn't affect our seating all that much and helps solve some spacing problems. We'll also take one of the pews that's already been pulled out and is sitting in Chandler Hall, and then one on the back of the sanctuary that has the side of the sanctuary that has 2 pews kind of by the handicap entrance, the motorized door. Those are already really, really close together. So again, it's another spacing issue. And we'll talk about some different ideas we have on what to do kind of with the opened up space in the back of the sanctuary. Like for instance, if it's like Christmas or Easter and we want more seating, we might be able to get like some nice chairs and move those in to expand capacity. Again, we're still working on that. So we'll communicate more about that. But that's the basic idea, is that the choir loft would become pews from the sanctuary so they match. They'll be centered, they'll be symmetrical. And we're hoping to be able to take the pews from the choir loft and actually move them up into the balcony and replace some of those older pews. And we've measured it, and we should be able to have people come up on the sides in the balcony, and even with the sloped ceiling, it should still work fine. Because those pews, many of the pews up there are not even on their last leg. They're a little bit past that. So we might be able to kind of solve that problem at the same time. So we'll explore that. So that's an upcoming update to the sanctuary, and again, that'll be happening sooner, but the visual aesthetic should remain the same and actually be improved and more symmetrical as well, and I think helps the choir by improving accessibility along the way. Finally, just a reminder that I am going to be on sabbatical from June 1st through August 24th, and while I'm away, Pastor Carol and Linda Kaiser, who is the moderator of the Personnel Committee, are the ones to contact. And in this email, in this communication, we have Carol's cell phone and email, and we have Linda's phone number and email as well. And those have been in the newsletters as well, and other members of personnel are listed there too. So those are your primary contacts. If you've got something that you want to share, or if you have a question, go to Carol and Linda. That is the best, is if you can go to both of them instead of just telling one and they have to communicate with each other, because they are working together to lead the church in my absence and covering a lot of the different tasks that are still out there. So thank you to everyone who has been part of this preparation. Thank you to everyone who is stepping up and helping during my absence. And I look forward to presenting a lot of what I'm doing at the Saturday lunch in September, and you'll get to see a lot of the technology and stuff. I'm going to be bringing it to the presentation in September. So if you're wondering, what is a laser cutter and what is a 3D printer and what kind of robots, I'll be bringing a lot of that stuff in for the Saturday lunch in September. So stay tuned, and prayers go with you over the next 3 months.